Hello guys, welcome back to another Linktree video. In this one we're going to be doing analysis on RCAT. Reason is being the biggest gap today, up 50%. And what was quite interesting is we actually did a morning live stream before market opened, I think around 9:10 to maybe 9:30. And we went over some of the bigger gappers in the morning and some large gaps to kind of predict where prices would go and maybe good short areas and all of that. So RCAT was one of these we did. You can go and watch it if you want. We uploaded the one before this video. And yeah, we gave the price targets where it's most likely going to go off standard deviation. So that's basically exactly what happened. The $4 wasn't a deviation, but we said obviously a whole dollar you're going to get some sort of reaction around this area. So we had all that plotted out. Didn't end up watching it live, but have seen that, yeah, it came to the $4 as you would expect, got a very strong pullback before retracing to feedback and continuing higher, breaking new high, pulling back, and again still doing a lower low, so keeping to that uptrend, and then comes up for its final push, which was for what, 424, 425, which again was our biggest target that we gave on the day, which was roughly the second deviation on the 4 hour, where we said it probably won't go much higher than that, and that ended up being top of the day where we would be looking for a short bias trade. So that kind of played out, and then obviously on the way down you're getting bounces around these deviations. Apart from here you kind of see it broke through, but if it doesn't bounce the original time, what usually happens, it will break through and retest as it did here. So that's one thing to be looking out for, but just to show you how the analysis played out so you can see it before it even happens. Now we'll delete these and go into what we are doing more for like the next few day analysis and where we could see it going. Sorry if my voice sounds a bit weird as well. So looking at the stock, there's no gaps to be filled, apart from the one obviously we just created today. So we got a 240 to a 340 gap to fill, so a whole dollar, which obviously on a stock like this is very large. If we draw that out, that's, you know, it's got to pull back 30%, but we'll most likely see that because gaps need to be filled. So where do we see this going? So you'll see on the daily, it didn't even touch a deviation. The deviation was quite high, so instead it's kind of just right now in the middle of the deviation. So it's kind of hard to use the daily chart because it's not in any significant area, it's just a statistical mean. So on the daily chart it's kind of considered fair value, but now if we go over to the 4 hour chart's a bit different, and so we can start seeing where it is. So obviously we went up to second deviation, have since pulled back, and we have started to close below the first deviation. So this does usually indicate that the move is most likely going to finish, and probably push back down to fill this gap. So most likely right now is the move is finished and we'll just wait for a fade down to 240. However, what could happen is either in the morning we start to gap up, or we push down further to kind of this half deviation, so either 291 or 313 depending which one it uses, and these could be kind of pullback bounce areas, and then that could continue the uptrend if it's going to continue up. So those are the key kind of levels we're looking at, and if it does continue up, where would we be looking for selling pressure? So that could be if you're looking to maybe just lock in profits or get short. There will still be some area or significance around this 425, but probably wouldn't be trading it, at least short bias, because it's already been hit. So that's more of an area maybe to lock in profits instead of trading or entering a trade at that level. Unless maybe you do divergent trading and you see it's diverging from yesterday's high. But where do we see, so if it breaks out of this area, which is the only way we would be looking to trade it more in a short bias way, and we would be looking for a breakout to 515 to 524. This would be quite a high, low risk short. Reason for that is its first deviation on the daily and the third deviation on the 4 hour. So I would say probably about 95% of the time you will get a strong pullback at this area, and if you were looking to get short here, we would be having a intraday target, more of like a scalp or quick day trade, looking to be in the trade no more than probably at 30 minutes, and it would be shorting this 515 and locking the profits in at 470/455. Again, these will be a pullback zone. If we come into here, we would most likely pull back to here, even if we're going to continue higher. So here the move could finish if we start closing below 455, most likely going to continue down. Or even if it starts closing below 425, then it was most likely going to continue its downtrend. But if not, it retests and breaks out. Kind of our extreme targets would kind of be this 604 and 664, again both great short opportunities, and if you were long for any reason, good area to start locking in profits. Obviously when you see these levels as well, you want to be doing it before these levels, because that's the level of significance. And if something like a high frequency trader is trading it, it will happen more or less usually on that dollar, or on that cent amount a lot of the time. So usually it's good to be able to lock in the profits a bit before. So if it's like a 604, not only do you have a statistical deviation, but then you're also going to have that psychological level at $6. So on something like that, you probably want to be locking in profit between 594 and 597. And then for something like 664, you're going to want to kind of wait for it to break through that 50-cent psychological level, but you're probably going to want to be locking in profits close to like 660, because those 4 cents, yes, it may be a bit more profit, but it could turn that trade into a loser if you aren't able to manage your trade. And what you'll be able to see, if we go onto the intraday chart, is we had that top target here at 424/425. If you had that target at 425 for your short entry, more likely than not, it would not have been filled. We can actually pull up volume, but it's not really going to do much for us. But more likely than not, you wouldn't have got fill. So that's why it's good to take in that thing a bit below, because if you had an entry probably at 423, 422, 421, that would have been a fill. So key thing to be looking out for. So that's kind of it on RCAT. I mean, yeah, upside target, there you are. Obviously you can use those for shorts or locking in profits, depending if you're short or long price trader. We will plot out these, but it's more unlikely that it will go to these levels, the 805 and the 945. If it goes there again, they're levels, but a bit more extreme. And then where do we see more good low risk buying opportunities to the downside? And that would be close to kind of this first deviation, so 158. You'll see as well the gap fill lines up with the first deviation, so that could provide a good bounce as well. That gap fill, you'd be looking for the gap to fill and then kind of reverse, and maybe might not push to a new high, but would at least provide a good bounce trade. And then even lower, kind of like this, yeah, $1 to 66 cents. But I always say, usually when a stock gets below $2, I wouldn't even bother touching it, unless you are maybe going only in for day trades, just because obviously there's risk of delisting, and if a stock's at $1, it's not that valuable, so you probably don't want to be trading it. And it will also kick out a lot of traders, because most traders have criteria, whether that's on your scanners or just your own rules. Usually people will say if it's below $1.50 or $1, they're not going to trade it, so it kicks out a lot of the volume and volatility as soon as you kind of get below that level. So probably a good thing to keep out of them when they break down to that level. So kind of this 158 is the kind of lowest area I would be getting long if I was looking to get long. But that's it for the RCAT analysis. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you in the next one. Peace.